Is that going to be enough to beat our king? We're going to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you MVP Ryung.
You know, there was a moment in time when I was going to be teammates with this buddy.
Indeed.
But you stopped that happening.
You can blame Cody for that because he didn't pay enough. Sorry, I outbid him. That's the only time I've ever outbid EG on anything, by the way. Just want to point that out. That's usually impossible.
I remember at the time I was like, yes, Ryung, because like, you know, Ryung is like super cool and stuff, and he's also one of the nicer Koreans, like, which you probably know. Like, he's always smiling and joking and really cool. But yeah, he's recently been good again. Like, he made it top 8 GSL, man, and he only fell to Beyond, but that was in one of the freaking tightest series I've seen.
Oh,
like,
it was crazy.
This year. So
phenomenal. Good
player.
He is.
Also, we can't forget him losing to, I think it was Sniper, where
I'm never gonna forget that.
Imba.
Yep, he got in a lot of trouble for saying that. Why do you think Koreans don't trash talk? That's why they get in trouble. Oh wow! All right, this is gonna be a match and a half. These guys have faced off quite a few times. So this should be excellent, Zerg versus Terran. Very much looking forward to watching it. The countdown has now begun. Frozen Temple will be our venue for this matchup.
Wait, he got in trouble for that?
Oh, for Imba? Yeah. Huge amounts of trouble in the Korean scene.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I had no idea. I just, I only remember him typing in that, and I was like, yeah, Ryung's my man.
Yeah, yeah, I agreed with him fully at that point. I mean, this was Broodlord Infestor nonsense, you know. Bear in mind, he lost 2-3 to Sniper. You think if the Broodlord Infestor advantage was not there, that would have been probably a GSL championship for Ryung, but no Terran was winning. Innovation didn't, you know? Pult didn't.
No. I think this was before the Innovation era. Like, this was obviously the MVP kind of...
Yeah. I think it was the first time we saw Innovation on foreign soil at IPL 5. That was the first time we saw a little bit of hype behind him. Yeah, Edna Wings of Liberty. That was the first time we saw him there.
Innovation was around...
He was at IPL 5, yeah.
Okay. Wow, okay. I only remember him during, like, Bots-ish.
Yeah.
Like, when all the Casper players came over, but I can't really...
I think he was still called... I think he just changed his name to Innovation. I don't think he was still called Bogus. I think he just changed his name. I might be wrong, but I know he was there. I can tell you that for a fact.
And I've seen so many good series, like, over the years. Like, I remember when Innovation was, like, unstoppable, and then MVP went up against him in some semi-final somewhere, and everybody counted MVP out because he couldn't actually feel his own hands. But then it was, like, one of the tightest series also of all time.
Yes, it was amazing. It just goes to show that experience and intelligence is, you know, still king in this game. All right, speaking of kings, Nurchio is 7 wins in, and now he faces off against this man. To the northwest position on Frozen Temple in the Blue Trunks playing Terran, MVP Ryung. Versus his opponent to the southeast position from Team Euronix Gaming. In the red trunks playing Zerg, he looks to tie Beyond's 8-win record. He is Nurchio.
You're just making me, like, relive my time of, like, freaking Cody. Like, this guy. I remember, do you remember EG Oz?
Oh, wow, yes, I absolutely do.
So, like, there was a time where it was, like, EG Alive, EG Oz. I remember the reason he recruited Oz was because, to quote, he was like, he's really cool, he smokes cigarettes. And that was legitimately a reason why they recruited Oz.
You know, Cody's never forgiven me for outbidding him on Ryung. He brings it up every time I meet him. He's not even working in Starcraft anymore. Every time I see him at, like, an event or whatever, he always brings up Ryung.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, we were super happy about Ryung. There was, like, I guess there was a few recruits that were pretty funny. I remember, like, I guess I shouldn't talk about it, but I guess it's, like, way
I think it's past times. I think you're allowed now.
Yeah, there was one time that we were, we had to recruit, like, an American, right? So we were recruiting Illusion. And then one day I remember waking up and, like, kind of a few weeks went by, right? Like, and it was a guaranteed, like, yeah, he's joining. And then one day we woke up and it was like he joined Quantic that day. It was kind of like,
well, that was a mistake. But
yeah,
hey.
What the hell? But yeah, there's been a lot of, like, weird things happen where you assume this player's joining you and then all of a sudden they don't, even though they didn't tell you anything. But yeah, the Ryung thing, we were really sad about that one.
Oops.
But he's starting off the game with the Beyond build. So this is like the tried and true, hey, this is really good against Zerg right now, the double drop play. But I'm kind of surprised that he didn't opt for 3-Rex Reaper. So there's 2 maps that you can. In fact, there's 3, but this is the absolute best map for 3 Rex Reaper. And the fact that you can do it cross-server-ish, like, yes, it's a bit more difficult for you, but it's also more difficult for your opponent. And Nurture has been known to not be very good against that. Whoa, he lost an Overlord in the
Yeah,
north.
he did. Ryung, actually, a surprising move, was able to send out 2 Marines, believing, I assume, that he knew where the Overlord was coming in. He actually intercepted it and took it out, which early game, that's a pretty big deal.
That is a big deal. Have you seen this Overlord in the south middle? It was kind of like floating around that thing very awkwardly.
Yes, I'm not really sure what it was doing there. It was almost like it was trying to mate with it, but one way or the other, it's not really accomplishing much. And that's blinded Nurture for several minutes, and it's also put Nurture in a position where I had to build an extra Overlord, so nice pick off. Ryung is not really the kind of person that would do. I think that 3 Rex Reaper, he wants to play a solid macro Terran style, very old school often, against a Zerg. Because he's had a lot of success with that, I think. Also, bear in mind, it's quite late at night over there, so he probably doesn't want to play a very speed-intensive style.
Ryung has always been very known for his TVT. Like, he's had a godlike TVT. Even when you've had people that have been, like, MVPs, MMAs of the world, that have been stronger in other matchups, Ryung's always been super solid in TVT. But recently, he's definitely been a lot better in TVZ too.
His TVZ has been very strong lately.
Yeah, I remember him playing against Dark recently, and he slapped Dark apart, you know, like it was a really good
Dark.
series.
You know, that's no slouch. That's, like, one of the best Zerg in the world, and he tore him to pieces. So, yeah, Ryung, he's always going to be typecast as TVT God, even though that's not really a specialist matchup anymore. But his Terran versus Zerg has always been very strong. And he's got a chip on his shoulder from the Wings of Liberty era after losing to Sniper. He wants to punish Zergs as a result. Now he's heading forward. Few too many roaches here. Just evacuate and get out.
So this was a scan trade for 1 single creep tumor, and he also lost a Reaper. So,
yeah,
I mean,
not brilliant.
And Nurcho, he seems very prepared, right? Like, his drone count's good, he's making more lings, he's getting armor, like carapace upgrade, so he's keeping up with his opponent. But yeah, you talked about it, it's late in Korea, and Ryung's going for a lot of barracks, so this 5-rack style before 3rd CC, like, this is very not European. This is a definite Korean trend that we're seeing happen in this tournament. Maru tried it, Ryung's trying it now, but there's kind of a reason that we haven't tried it in Europe, or we have done it in Europe, but it just doesn't seem to work anymore. So I'm really anxious to see what Ryung does differently to what we do against Nurture, because so far we can't make it work.
Yeah, because speed-wise, you think, you know, Maru has the edge over a player like Ryung, and if Maru can't make it work, then you're going to have to look at something else.
Map-wise, though, New Getty is a lot bigger.
That is true.
But you see here Nurture, he's just kind of like poking and prodding with these lings. He went to the 3rd to see if there was a 3rd being set up, which he would have decimated. He sees a large number of Marines at the base, but that's normal, because you usually anticipate some follow-up, right, like double drops and stuff, but these tanks, he kept these tanks hidden, which is a big, big, big deal. And this creep spread, he keeps reapplying this creep spread. This creep spread is decent. Oh, but if he goes into those bushes, could get pounced on, but no, he runs back. So Nurcho's made a really good read here. Even though he's been producing units constantly, he's still at a really good drone count. He's at 62 right now.
That made up for that scan earlier. He got 5 tumors there, so that was great from him. And now, of course, he has the tank support, which Nurcho did not know about. Is having to get Ravagers to deal with that. And now Ryung is going for it. I don't think he's got the numbers for it. He does have the tank support, however. That is certainly going to help. He's stimming forward. He believes he has enough to crack this. Nurcho showing a moment's hesitation. More reinforcements streaming in here. Ryung having to back off. How well will that tank... That tank needs to be focusing down on something that isn't the Queen. Hot pickup by Ryung. He's out of there. Does some damage. Trades out. Who do you think got the better end of that?
Nurture, because he's still alive. And
that's true, yes. That was supposed to do significant damage, and it didn't.
Yeah, and I mean, Ryung's not got a 3rd on the way. He's
going Liberators,
Yeah, he didn't even make a 4th gas with this. I really feel that if the next 2 Liberators don't kill him, which, against a player playing Ravagers, I'm not sure how popular this style is in Korea right now, but Nurture's going to be at 70-ish drones very soon. He's got a good queen count too. He's going to be at 7 queens soon also, which is no slouch. He's got better upgrades than his opponent. And these Ravagers, they already deal with Liberators. Like, you usually go Liberators if your opponent is only relying on Ling, Queen, Bane, because then you can get behind a natural, right? And then siege it up a little bit, and it's only Queens to take it out. But with Ravagers on the field, he's just going to go for another big push, and if he can't make this one work, he's unfortunately going to die.
Yeah, because his economy's not in the place it needs to be. He's got to do the damage now.
And look at this. Nurture's killed these rocks, which means that he can get super duper flanks, and these tanks can't abuse those rocks, even though they haven't done so far. Yeah, you can't do it. But Ryung's playing very patient with these Liberators. He's not going too far ahead. Oh, this one's too far.
Yeah, that one's going to get picked off. And yeah, bang. Down it goes. And now that tank's too far ahead as well. Oh dear. It looks like he's going to get overwhelmed at this point. Nurchio smells weakness. The Liberator's in good position. Tank at the back. Actually, both tanks at the back are actually doing a good job.
Oh my god.
Wait a second. The Roaches are down. The Roaches are gone. Ryung is cracking forward and smashing the Ravagers here. Those tanks were left untouched the entire time. He focused on the Liberators but ignored the tanks.
Oh my god, there weren't enough Roaches in that mix. He turned
no, there
them
weren't.
all into Ravagers, and he kind of right-clicked forward. You saw like a move command forward when he missed the tank there. And now he's in really bad shape, and Ryung's pushing really hard.
And he has to. You realize he smells some weakness right now. He's got the tanks in position. If he can somehow bring down the rest of the dudes, hot pickup, avoids the bile, in come the drones, another pickup. Ryung's now gonna have to get out of there. His marine count is just not quite high enough, but he's bringing in more reinforcements. Not quite enough, however. Does some economic damage. I mean, that was scary for Nurchio for the moment, but Nurchio still looks stable, and Nurchio's about to have this really big upgrade lead, so I don't know if this attack has any more legs.
Like, the big thing with the upgrades is tanks don't really care about upgrades.
No,
like,
that's true.
If you get one armor, yeah, they don't one-shot Lings anymore, which is a big deal, but, you know, they do a lot of damage to Roaches still, but the thing is, Nurchio, he survived now. Like, he kind of overcommitted to one of those fights and took a lot of damage. Ryung's going to pick off what he can, but look at the main of Ryung. He's going to have to float his main soon.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, his economy is absolutely screwed.
The queen count's starting to get high. It's...
yeah, Nurchio's in comfort mode.
Yeah, you also notice that Ryung's slipping up here. Like, it looks like fatigue, honestly. Like, he's making micro mistakes, which is getting him killed, you know, and if you're playing that style where you're using your tanks and trying to get them out before they die, you can't slip up. You know, you lose a tank, you lose a medevac, that's devastating.
I hate to discredit the winner because like a player seemingly is playing worse. I actually think Ryung handled those fights as well as he could, but honestly his build, like this all-in style, you really rely on your opponent messing up against it. Like there's a reason why this isn't. No, there's a reason why this style
Ryung's overextended, needs to back up into the Liberation tanks. Oh god, there's a Liberator stacked on top of a bunch of tanks and they all die at the same time. That was a money shot for Nurchio. He's going to be very happy with that, and that pretty much takes the heart out of the Terran army at this point. There's the other Liberator down, and I mean, that's it, right? It's a 4-base Zerg. 3-base Terran being established. Counter-attack, devastating. 3 times the size of the army. Nurchio, I think, can now close this out.
I actually think Ryung did this about as good as you can do it. Like,
it just doesn't work.
No, like there was one like a leapfrog of a Liberator that went a little bit too far that we even talked about. Like as soon as it happened, it was a bit too presumptuous. But here, no, he's just getting mauled by a very,
there's too much, absolutely too much. Heavily upgraded units, and that'll do the job. GG. Nurchio ties Beyond's record. 8 maps, ladies and gentlemen. 8 maps here.
Man. Nurchio's just eating
ripping
everybody up,
through
man.
everybody.
And I think that was probably the closest we've seen Nurchio come to
definitely,
losing.
Yeah.
Like, for a moment there, I can't believe Ryung was making that work, honestly. Like, that was really cool by him.
It was well executed, but then just a few mistakes is all it needs, and you have to do so much damage, and Nurchio is resistant to taking economic damage. It's like, okay, I lost my army, but I didn't lose my drones. I can replace that. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, like, Nurchio, he's the kind of guy that the reason that he's so good, like what makes him a really good player, is he's got the numbers in his head of what he needs to defend against certain things. So if you are a player that's planning on all-inning Nurchio out of ShoutCraft Kings, it's not going to happen. The way that you really want to take advantage of Nurchio is playing a late game and letting him butt his head against the wall. And so far, no player has really clued onto that. And I'm making it sound like it's such a simple feat, but surviving against Nurchio is not freaking easy either. So, yeah, these Korean Terrans so far, I don't think they realize the beast that they're up against.
Yeah, if there is one Zerg that can reliably kill Korean Terrans, his name is Nurchio. That's not the way to get rid of him, apparently. You know, it almost makes me think the familiarity is the one Achilles heel of Nurchio. We'll find out after the break whether or not we can bring somebody like that to the mix. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to ShoutCraft Kings. Nurchio, with an 8-map streak, has beaten the best Korea has to offer. And cats! Incredible. I've never seen a run like it.
I'm actually reading a little bit of forums while this is going off in between games, and some guy was like, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Nurcho beat Maru. Like, this is obviously way earlier. And then Nurcho actually responded in the chat, in like the comments, and was like, yeah, I think that'd be pretty easy. Like,
hindsight is always 20/20, you arrogant bastard. Alright. Okay, you've proven your point. Nurchio was involved in an interview, actually, yesterday, I believe, on Team Liquid, where he made a very interesting point. When being interviewed about his success in the Kesper Cup qualifier, he said Koreans aren't the only one that know how to play StarCraft 2 anymore. He's making his point quite aptly. Okay, fine. Alright. That's how it's going to be. Then we'll try a different approach. If I can't beat you with Korean players, then how about I throw the entire contents of your home country at you? A legendary matchup, a classic matchup, a matchup that has happened so very, very often and has always been electrifying. I offer, certainly not up to sacrifice, liquid mana.
Okay, you picked mana, and I know these guys have a big rivalry, and Nurcho, obviously a forum god, he will always kind of like shit-talk mana, and they've kind of had this rivalry, but within regards to their statistics, Nurcho's kind of like 80% against mana.
Indeed. Currently, he is having a pretty crazy run against him. The rivalry between the two is ridiculous. Giving mana a chance to redeem himself, I think, is the idea here.
What's beautiful about this matchup, though, it's not only like they want to beat each other because, you know, winner stays on and there's money on the line and stuff. This is like, I don't think these two get along very well at all.
No, they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't. I mean, skill isn't going to do the job. You know, Nurchio has proven he can beat the best. Maybe mind games. Perhaps mind games. National pride. Something. Anything. Knuckle dusters. Baseball bat. I don't know.
I mean, that's from the Europeans. There's a few players that I think can beat Nurcho, but
oh, indeed.
I'm not sure if Mana's one of them, man. Like, if there's anybody that's always had problems against Zerg, it's Mana. Like, but if he can do it, then man, what a legend.
That would be certainly an interesting upset, but an interesting story nonetheless. We do have a few more people waiting in the wings that may be an interesting challenge, but I just want to see what Mana can do. He's been boot camping quite a lot recently. I want to see if he can throw something new in. Yes, he is. He's in the boot camp. So he should be in decent form right now. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I'm also intrigued by Nurchio's hatchery placement here.
Ooh.
Looks like, is he potentially avoiding a pylon block, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, he started doing that before the hatchery ever arrived, but so Mana, upon seeing this, what's he going to think? Like, I mean, there has to be a hatchery somewhere on the map, but where would it be if he just ran past the natural? The only logical thing is, hey, it's at its third, right?
You'd think so.
This, by the way, this wall in from Mana is particularly weird.
It's a bit weird shape, but it's very Myeongsik-like, isn't it? With the double gateway.
Yeah, it certainly is. But having the cybernetics core so exposed on the outer side, yeah, that's a bit odd. Normally people tuck it behind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a relatively tough building, but that's one hell of a protected pylon, I'll give him that. But you're right, you know, you left it exposed. I mean, a couple of roaches going to nibble away at that, right?
Certainly. Also, what we have to take into account with like Nurcho expanding at this third, rather than just the natural, these guys have obviously played each other a lot, and maybe Nurcho knows stuff about Mana. I don't know, but the fact that he has expanded here against a double gateway opening is really bad, because one of the advantages he had against Myeongsik is that when the double adepts came, both his bases were pretty close together, so his lings and his queens didn't really have to be in two places at once, whereas now they will.
Yeah, I just want to point out that Nuccio is blind to what Mana is doing right now. He's only just moving his scout out, and he's going to encounter double adept and be pretty unhappy about that.
Super unhappy, I'd imagine. Like, these lings, they do survive. There is a queen at this third, but these lings, they're going to take a little bit of a while. Oh,
well,
damn.
He's dead. Straight up dead. That's not brilliant. And Mana can now get into that mineral line. There's relatively little threat. Looks like he's going to... I wouldn't cancel out of this. Yeah, just go for it. You can do some serious damage to that drone line here.
Oh, God.
And Nuccio has obviously made a fairly huge miscalculation against a player he is evidently quite confident against.
Oh, wow.
And he gets out without losing the adept. That was a very slick maneuver there by Mana, and he's going straight into Resonating Glaive.
This is going to be like one of those pressure builds from Mana, and we saw Myunsik kind of try and do something, but he used 4 adepts to deal the same damage that Mana's done with just 2, but also Mana kept his adepts alive, so he hasn't lost them at all. These lings, they run into a wall.
Yeah, that unusual wall turned out to be ideal for repulsing that.
Yeah, this is really bad for Nuccio already.
Yep.
He's getting his Roach Warren down early enough, so that's good. Like, he's making pretty apt reads, I think. He's spreading out his overlords, like, down the south of the map. He has control of the watchtower, so he can see anything that comes his way. But he has to have the units out in time. This is a very early lair too.
It is, yeah. I wonder what that's for.
Yeah. We have to talk about how unlucky this was for Nuccio. Like, he tried to fake that he had no natural, in which he was hoping that Mana wouldn't have responded, but Mana made this build, which unfortunately for Nuccio is very, very good. So Nuccio technically got blind countered early on, but it doesn't mean he's down and out, and it doesn't mean that Mana's randomly took a lead in this game. Mana still needs to play ridiculously well, but this was a good start for Mana. This is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, and that's a strong adept force with Resonating Glaive moving out against a fairly small force of roaches. This should work relatively well. He has the Robo backing this up. He's going Observer first, not Prism, so I don't know how much he really wants to commit to this, but gets one picked off. Nice target fire there by Nuccio. As always, I mean, that's what we see from him. Will he do the warp? He actually will. Wow. He bypasses the roaches entirely, but I mean, he actually moved to a place where he has a retreat path. A really smart and off creep, more importantly, there for Mana.
And, you know, I'm really loving Nuccio's micro with his units. Like, this focus fire that he's been doing in these small fight engagements has definitely been what's separating him from a lot of other Zergs out there, which you often think in StarCraft, like, it's so fast that you have to attack, move everything, and, you know, utilizing every second, but Nuccio is just utilizing very little things that separate him from the rest.
Mana's going for an Immortal as opposed to a Prism right here. I mean, obviously against Roaches, that's a great choice.
You know what I really like about this situation, though, for Nuccio? Like, these Adepts did nothing. Like, I was really scared for Nuccio. Yeah, I was really scared for Nuccio. He even gets this Overlord in, gets to scout absolutely everything. Is he going to see this Robo as well?
Looks like he... Did he get it? Let's just double check. He did not, actually. Wow. That's key, and the Immortals moved out of the way just before that as well, so that's good news, certainly, for Mana. Mana's army looking solid. He got his third up at about the right time, so he's keeping up with Nuccio fairly well. We're seeing a Hydralisk Den added on, and you think we're going to go back into this Hydra Lurker style that's been working so well for Nuccio?
He seems to have done it every time on Frost, and yeah, why not? I mean, it's kind of awkward to get into that position that he likes to get into, such as on the far east of this map behind the third, given that he has to wrap around, which kind of leaves the middle open. But yeah, he's been very good at it, and he's getting the Hydralisk. Oh!
Lovely force fields. That's going to trap a few. He unfortunately doesn't get that last one. If he had one more, I think he botched one at the top. If he'd got one more, that would have been great. But now the Immortals have been revealed. Obviously, the Roach Force is not going to be ideal anymore.
No, and one thing that Zergs have been doing against Protoss a lot when they take an early third is this, like, big Ling, Roach, Ravager flood. But Mana never allowed that to happen. With such a good start that he had, yeah, he just kind of thwarted that. And now he's got a decent army. He also has recall, remember? So this looks like it's just going to be a, hey, I'm going to force you to make units. I don't really intend on attacking you, although this is really strong. He could. Like, this is way before Lurkers or anything are out, but No, no, no. He's just cleaning up creep, getting control of the tower, and forcing his opponent to make units.
The passivity of Mana could certainly hurt him here. He's not known as an aggressive player. He never has been. There are definitely opportunities where he could have won a map. Second Robogun, that's interesting. There are definitely opportunities where he could have won a map, but I think he's lost as a result.
We see something very different in this game so far. Yes, and Mana's had the fortune that the other Protosses didn't have, I guess, is watching the games. He's seen Nurture on this map multiple times now against Myungsik in these exact positions and against Creator, and both those Protosses fell against this exact stuff that Nurture is going for. So Mana's not only had a better start, but he's also got to see where the other Protosses failed, and he's switching it up against him. The Blink I find a little bit weird, because I don't really see you making too many Stalkers in your composition. So the other Protosses went for Charge, which Zealots were pretty damn good, and most of your gas goes into the Immortals, the Archons, and I guess it will go into the Disruptors as well. So
yeah, here's the Disruptor on the way up here from Mana.
Nice.
That's a lot of tech, and it may be the key for taking out Nurture's composition. Attempted run by Shutdown here.
I just find Stalker's a bit of an odd choice, but you know, Mana knows what he's doing, and this is a hard army to kill really fast. It's just Stalkers don't really fare well against Lurkers, which is
they do not. No,
ultimately
they
what Nurture's going for. Yeah.
Well, I'm intrigued. The addition of the Disruptors is something I really, really like. You know, Mana's got 7 Immortals, and it seems like he's like, that's as many as I'm going to get, because I've seen what's happened to the previous Protoss, and I'm not going to make that same mistake. What I am concerned about is that Mana's playing very passively, which has allowed Nurture to take a 4th and a 5th. So if he's going to do some damage, he needs to pick a time and do it soon.
Yeah, again, like, Mana's obviously getting ready to hit a tiring once he gets like 4 Disruptors out, because his army's pretty stocky, but these Stalkers aren't particularly... They're not a unit that gets much stronger as the game goes on.
No.
Upgrade-wise, Nurture's going to hit +2, he's getting all these 9 Lurkers out. He has so many Lings on the field that are just going to be they're going to be cannon fodder, mainly because Disruptors are bad against Lings, you can't kill the Lings with those. Immortals want to be shooting Lurkers and valuable units, not Lings. Same with Stalkers, actually. So that's why he's got all these Lings. And again, look at this formula that Nurture's got in his head. If I wrap around here...
Mana's seen it coming, though. He's got Adepts already there. You know, he knows that happened to the previous Protoss, and he did keep an eye out for it. Those Adepts are going to go down. They'll trade relatively well, but upgrades-wise, Nurture has...
Look at Mana in the south, too. This is a really good little counterattack, because this isn't too many units. This is... In fact, he could have even used less, I suppose, but this is really
here come the Disruptors. He's looking for the shots. Oh, some pretty good ones. And right into the center of the Lurkers. 2 more die. And great force field placement here as well. Right into the center. Wow, Mana's making these count right now, and he has the Immortal count as well to really make this work, as long as he doesn't lose the Disruptors. Another big shot into the center. Nurture's army starting to come apart. Just a couple more Disruptor shots would do it, but he's in range of the Lurkers, needs to back off, loses one at the front. Here comes the shot. Can he make it happen? Another one down. And the Harasser's going on in the meantime as well.
Yeah, this is really good play by Mana, honestly. And Nurture, he got figured out this game.
Yep. Taken advantage of not only his boot camp, and imagine, you know, having his other Team Liquid people around him before this to tell him. It's like, look, you know, this is what Nurture's doing. Familiar knowledge of what Nurture does in this matchup, as well as, of course, the experience of watching these previous games. Has put Mana in a... This is maybe one of the first times we've ever seen Nurture behind an army supply.
Definitely. He's got a lot of Hydras on the field, it looks like. Yeah, 22. He's still got a decent number of Lurkers, 4, but he needs to make that number a lot higher. And the sad thing for him is he's thinking about, okay, how do I deal with these Disruptors? Because the more Lurkers that I make, the more they're just going to die against these Disruptors.
I mean, lots of Hydras is good due to the lack of, like, AoE, and, you know, especially on creep, the Hydras will have the speed to get away from the Disruptors, but this army has a lot of range, it's got a lot of reach, a lot of punch.
Certainly does. This is where I feel the Stalkers kind of fall a bit flat, because they're just, like, not good Immortals, basically.
No. Ooh, lovely warping up at the top right here is going to do a lot of damage to that 5th base. A little Blink Stalker squad threatened the 4th. I mean, that got taken out as well. So we've got a 3-pronged attack here by Mana. A lot of harassment. Lurkers getting blown away. Mana, as the doubt was there, but it may very well be that just playing against this guy so much and having so much familiarity has given him an edge where other players have completely underestimated Nurture's capabilities.
Definitely. And right here, Nurture's getting a little attack in the south, but The Blink Stalkers are coming into effect here. Does clean
Absolutely.
up this army. And
Adepts will slot. He taps
Wow.
out.
wow,
Hate to say I told you so, Ben.
you told me so.
I did. It finally happened. Taps out maybe a little earlier than I would have thought. I mean, he tapped out with 67 army supply remaining. I mean, that's a little bit of a Idra GG timing there, but, I mean, it's against a Protoss army that you can't touch. What was key, if you look down the bottom of the screen right there, Mana's efficiency was legendary. He lost 8,200 resources versus 16,000 resources.
Certainly. It was very well played by Mana, and he did what all the other Protossers didn't, which was a simple unit choice, which was Disruptors. He also had a much better start than all the other Protossers had, just based on a build order choice. And Nurcho, he went for a gamble there. He tried to fake not having a natural, but it didn't pay off. And if you take a gamble, well, sometimes you have to expect to lose.
Yep, and he did. It happened. That was what was required. Familiarity. A long-standing rivalry starts to swing back in the direction of Mana, who looked uncharacteristically slick that game. Like, better than he has in a while. That was a bit of a surprise for a lot of people, I think. They weren't expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't. A few things that... It's really tough when you're the winner and you've played the same map multiple times against the same race and somebody gets to study it. Because we got to see what was Nurcho's game-winning formula, and it was the same attack every time.
Yep, it was.
And Mana definitely clued into that, and he got the right number of units out in the right order, ready for it, and also had a pretty damn decent start. So I really like... It was a good play from Mana. I mean... I can't discredit him at all. He did what he did what needed to be done, and he didn't make a fault in doing it. And I've just seen your next player.
He. Oh my. This will be... We've got a couple more games left here in ShoutCraft Kings, and this is gonna make things very interesting. I'm looking forward to this game very much.
I don't really know what to say without you introducing him first.
Let me just do it then. Oh dear. You know, I mentioned I was going to throw his entire home country at him. Well, I still have the rest of his home country, so we're going to use it somehow. Making his debut here in ShoutCraft Kings, a fellow that you might not know, but has been on an absolute tear as of late. Considered by Elazer to be the #2 Polish player, just ahead of Mana. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Elazer.
Yeah. So there's Poland actually has a pretty strong scene right now. Like,
Yep.
Nurcho is the best player, but if you look at Elazer's ladder history, or at least like his ladder stats or where he's placed, he's in fact, he fell a little bit, but he was rank 1 for quite some time with very good stats, and he's kind of like a mini Nurchio. Whatever Nurchio whines about, Elazer will also whine about. He's very good, and he's a very quick little player, very erratic, and yeah, he's just solid, man. Like I would definitely class Elazer as Poland's second best player right now.
Yep.
Mana has a much
Longer
better history,
certainly, yes.
But current standing, Elazer's been doing exceptionally well. That being said, when it comes to tournaments and stuff, it doesn't seem like there's anyone that flies under the radar more than Mana. Like, whenever you say, oh, who are the best Protossers in Europe, Mana's name never gets mentioned, but
Not
he's
lately.
the guy that came
You
second.
certainly used to be. A couple of years ago, I'd say.
Maybe, I feel he's always been overshadowed by other foreign Protossers. Like, there was a time when you said like Huck was arguably the best foreign Protoss,
Very true, yeah.
in which Mana was always close behind him in earnings. Then there was Naniwa, and Mana was again close behind. And then there was like the reign of Lilbo, in which Mana actually finished second that season to Lilbo. So like, yeah, Mana's always kind of flown under the radar. And right now, if you said who are your favorite European Protossers, I'm pretty sure like names that get mentioned would be like Showtime, Hearthstone, Petit Drogo, but very rarely Mana. So yeah, somehow he manages to fly under the radar all the time.
That he does. Maybe he's just too polite. That'll be why. Everyone else
Too
has got a little bit of
polite.
an edge to them.
and even down to his team, it's like, okay, who are the best Liquid players? Oh, it's Snoot, you know. Oh, it was Bunny for a while, like. And now they've just recruited Euthermal as well, and it's like, well, Mana's pretty good too, right? And people are like, oh, well, Liquid have Euthermal and Snoot now, like, don't really need anybody else. But no, like, Mana is definitely good. And, whoa, look at this. Elazer's,
yeah, this is an interesting choice. Well, let's introduce our players, and then we'll figure out what the hell's going on. To the southwest position, ladies and gentlemen, from Team True Esports, the #2 player in Poland and currently ranked #7 non-Korean on Oligalak. Playing Zerg in the yellow, he is Elazer. Apologies. In the southeast corner, in the red trunks, also playing Protoss, finally having dethroned Nurchio and continuing the long-standing rivalry between the two. In the red trunks, it's Liquid Mana.
And in regards to these two, obviously they spoke a little bit of Polish, but I think they're two of the Polish players that get along, like at least far more than Nurchio gets along with Mana. And I don't think that's BM from Mana's side either. I just know that Nurchio has often been one of these guys that likes to rattle people's cages, you know. Whereas Elazer and Mana, they're very evenly matched, honestly. Like, this matchup could go either way. That being said, from what I've heard from Elazer, specifically, Gettysburg is super imba, and Zerg should never win this matchup, but I often see him win it anyway, be it with things like Lurkinitis and stuff like that.
Creativity. It's almost as if that actually has some place in StarCraft.
Yeah.
Weird.
Oh, he gets a really early Overlord speed, so he sees exactly what's going off. He gets to see this robotics facility being made. Stalker, unfortunately, just you know, on leave, just letting this Overlord scout absolutely everything. So this is a nice scout for Elazer. Very early to invest so much into Overlord speed just to feel safe, but now he knows he can drone up like a madman.
Yeah, there's not a lot of threat coming out of Mana at this point at all, so we'll see an economic push here from Elazer.
You're gonna lose that Overlord too?
Yeah, she might, despite the speed. Well, Stalker making up for the slacking earlier, you know, allowed him, perhaps he was luring into a false sense of security, who knows?
Who knows? So on Elazer's side of the map, we've got Queens out, 3 bases, lots of injects going down. So he's just going to keep on droning until he feels like he needs to make units. That's one of the ways that Zerg do kind of go with this matchup. Against Terran, it's much easier to read like when the Terran's going to attack me, given that they don't have things like Warpin. Also, Terran unit compositions tend to be more straightforward, like, okay, they're going to attack me with bio. Mech isn't really a thing these days, so the bio timings are very, 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 like, set in stone. Whereas Protoss, they have far more options. So this is why Elazer keeps poking in here, keeps scouting. Is he actually going to get this probe? If he gets this probe, that would be a big deal, but...
shouldn't, no.
Nice,
way too much defense for that. Yeah, great control by Mana. That immediately gets scouted, of course, but we knew that Nexus was coming down.
Right, and there's one thing by Mana there that I want to point out that was very, very cool. So he has the Pylon and the Adept, but he actually mineral walked the probe through the Adept, so he mineral walked that to like his natural or his main, in which the Zergling couldn't follow. So that was some definite nice little intricate play by Mana there to keep that probe alive.
Yeah, it's certainly showing that, you know, this boot camp that he's going through is obviously paying dividends. He's looking sharper than he has in quite some time. Obviously, experience never really goes away, and if you're a great player, you'll probably always be, but StarCraft is a game that relies heavily on current practice in order to really stay up to date with everything.
Right, certainly. So Mana's moving out across the map, and this is the kind of go-ahead for Elazer to make at least a few units. Do I think that this is a killing move by Mana? Not currently, but he just wants to force out units, and with the Mothership Core joining the fray too, as soon as you see the Mothership Core with this army, I feel that's kind of a telltale sign that he wants to get out of there, and I think Elazer's clued into that because he's still making drones. Yeah,
it's not a death push, and it takes a lot of balls to make drones in the face of that, you know, but it was the right call. Mana's just going to back off now. He doesn't want to overcommit, which is a little surprising. You know, what do you reckon to that? You know, with the ability to recall, or is he just waiting for the... It actually seems like he's just going to wait for the Prism, bring more Adept, and then push with Resonating Glaive. It's almost like he's faking out that he's leaving. Although, that's not going to work because there's an Overlord right there.
The scary thing right now is this army is actually very, very scary. And did you say he did have Resonating Glaives? Yes,
yeah,
he does.
He just finished Resonating Glaives. So that's... I mean, that's devastating. There's only Lings. There's only Zerglings. Yeah, he's going heavy. He went heavy on tech, incredibly heavy on tech, and way too heavy on tech. And Mana is just all over him right now.
Elazer did grab 2 sentries, though, that were trying to accompany this army in the back, and those 2 sentries could have been a big, big deal. Now Hydras are joining the fray, so this is Hydras, Lurkaden on the way. If he survives, he still hasn't really lost that many drones. He's still at 69.
Not yet, but I am concerned that he may very well. Bear in mind the recall is still available as well, so it's not like you can trap the army here.
One nice thing is he's getting his forfeit behind this, so if he just doesn't lose too much and stops bleeding out units, he'll still be in okay-ish shape. That being said, yeah, Mana's now dealing the damage he needs to do, and this recall, it's still here. It's still here. Where's the Warp Prism? Did it die?
Yeah, he messed up losing the Immortal.
No,
It was in range there.
Warp Prism's in the main. The Warp Prism did not pick up the Immortal, so
yeah, that was
start dealing damage.
A bit pointless. I'm not really sure why he lost that. Now he gets the pickups. A little bit of a slip up there. I mean, 19 drones killed. Certainly killed the base. Adepts have now moved into the 3rd. Are doing more damage there. It wasn't the most efficient attack by Mana, but the continued Warp Prism attacks may be overwhelming our Zerg here.
Yeah, and he keeps dodging the Corrosive Bile with the Warp Prism too, shifting in and out of phase mode, and this looks like a swift, quick, easy win for Elazer. Elazer thought he was being cute and smart, but it looked like Mana was just smarter with this attack because Elazer was not prepared whatsoever.
Uncharacteristically aggressive from Mana, honestly. They're really playing a lot of mind games. And now, of course, 42 drones killed. GG. Mana is obviously not rusty. I think that we need to throw that idea right out of the window at this point.
Wow.
That's unexpectedly excellent play here from our Polish Protoss, who just beat the #1 and #2 Polish players back to back.
Yeah, I have to credit Mana quite a bit there. He was very ballsy. Like, he took his 3rd, and he did actually probe it up a little bit. But Elazer, he overdroned there, man. Like, he didn't really respect that army that was moving out across the map, and we talked about how Mana's kind of brought his Mothership Core along that he can recall out if he wants to, but it's all well and good faking an attack, but the reason that those fake attacks work is because they could potentially be an attack, which this just turned out to be one of those moments. And Elazer, he had like, I want to say like 30 army supply, and half of that was in production by the time that arrived, so
yes.
It was really nice by Mana, and that's one of the strengths of Protoss, man. Like, no matter the size of the map, the fact that you can get your production in there and on the other side of the map in an instant, you have to respect that.
Well, in the case of Mana, it seems that experience prevails in this tournament right now. An unexpected king on the throne beats both of his countrymen. However, we're not quite done yet. We've got a couple of players left, and they will certainly be a challenge. No pushover. No pushover at all. Perhaps an unpleasant matchup next for Mana, in fact. One that he may very well not want to play, but, well, tough shit. Just going to make sure that we have our player before we go forward. A big reminder, by the way, if you missed any of the previous ShoutCraft Kings tournaments, they are all available, spoiler-free, over on youtube.com/TotalBiscuit. You can catch that. And of course, if you missed any of today's events, they will be up on youtube.com/TotalBiscuit over the next couple of days. If you want instant access to our VODs, then you can subscribe to the Twitch channel. That will give you chat access, ad-free viewing, as well as about 40 emotes or something ridiculous like that, and full spoiler-free VOD access. Absolutely appreciated, and big thanks, of course, to Blizzard Entertainment for sponsoring this event, providing all the prize pool, as well as paying our co-caster. Thank you to Ben for spending so much time with us today.
It's a pleasure.
It's been a fun event, definitely. So definitely some surprises. And, of course, big thanks to our Korean team, Alicia, Crank, and Olivia on the admin. And a shout-out, of course, to O Gaming, providing the French stream for this event. We're just currently confirming whether or not we have our next player available, because otherwise we'll have to do a quick swap out. There we go. Man, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next month. Seeing, like, those big streaky plays. I wonder if we're just going to get another clone of what happened in August, where we just didn't have any any players that could actually make it past 3. It's just been so interesting to see that we've had 2 massive streaks here, especially with high-quality players we've had.
Yeah, I mean, they were truly super impressive streaks too. I just saw which is the next player.
Yep.
All right. You make me a happy man.
This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this one. This is a matchup we probably didn't want, simply on the basis that not many people really enjoy killing their teammates. But this is ShoutCraft Kings. This is not a team tournament. You have to face whoever comes your way. Mana has shown surprising proficiency against Zerg. However, can his legendary PvT continue against his teammate, Liquid Euthermal?
This is so good. This is like one of the old school players of Liquid, it seems. Like, I think he joined Liquid with Bunny, although he could have been around before, but Liquid, like, I can't imagine Mana in another team, and Liquid Euthermal, that was one of the best pickups I've seen in a long time. Euthermal just shot up in the rankings, you know. He's actually a really, 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 really freaking good player.
Absolutely.
And seeing new against old, this is going to be cool. And the fact that they're both in the same room too currently.
They are, absolutely. They're currently at the same boot camp. Let me just put it this way. Euthermal has absolutely no lag excuse this time around. They're literally in the same room. They will be just fine. Let's see if Euthermal can prove his dominance and whether or not he was worth recruiting for Team Liquid. He is in the Red Trunks playing Terran to the northwest here of Apotheosis versus his opponent and teammate, a veteran versus an upstart in the Blue Trunks. Currently 2-win streak here in ShoutCraft Kings. A surprising, perhaps the most surprising of our Kings so far. It is Liquid Mana. Hello, hello, hello. What a place for a barracks.
You know, there's one thing that if you do watch Euthermal play TVP right now, you'll know that he's having a bit of a hard time. But he's found one method that's been working for him. And this is what we saw, I believe it's TY do it. He did it on a map called New Gettysburg, where you can block off the bottom path for a probe. So what TY did, he put a depot, like his very first depot, to block the path, right? Then he produced all his infrastructure, like all his barracks right behind. And so when the scouting probe traveled all the way along the thin path, he just uplifted the depot, and so the probe got no information whatsoever.
Huh.
What's different about this is this probe actually goes right into the base and sees, hey, there's not anything here. So he knows that there's something on the other side, or there's something somewhere on the map. So with this, Euthermal's going to be going for like a proxy factory, proxy everything. He's going to throw everything he can at Mana. This is a little bit different to what I've seen him do, actually. In fact, where's his factory?
His factory's actually in his main.
Wow, so what's he... Okay, so he's going to go for a factory in his base, and then a proxy starport in the bottom left. Okay,
yeah.
So this is already crazy. So this is going to be one Reaper into a second Reaper. There is a Zealot on the map. But this can be so many different follow-ups. So Mana's going to have his work cut out for him again in this... Oh!
Ooh, almost got the surround. Euthermal playing with fire there. Got a decent grenade off. Almost takes a second probe. That will be a lovely pick-off for him, especially since he's following it up with another Reaper.
Good
Pulls
mic
out
on these
now,
probes. If he gets too close to these pylons, he has to be very careful. But now, damage should be very much mitigated here. There aren't any probes on the natural.
Is that starport you were talking about?
Yeah. So this will most like... Oh, waste of pylon overcharge. Okay, that was really nice by Euthermal. And also a bit presumptuous by Mana to assume that Euthermal would stay by that. And Mana, he's scouting now. Did he get to see that barracks flying away with that probe? I'm going to assume...
I think he did. It looked like he did. Grenade in position. Euthermal gets a little too cocky with the Reaper and loses it. He actually stuck around a little bit too long. Another grenade goes off. Euthermal with some solid harass, losing that Reaper a bit unnecessary. But now we've got the Cyclone. What's coming out of that starport? It's going to be... I'm actually not going to guess. What do you think?
A Liberator.
A Liberator, of course.
I mean, at this point in time, what can deal with the Liberator? Also, if you look at the production tab, while all this has been going off, there's not been probes being produced.
No.
Like this has been really, really kind of, I don't want to use the word sloppy, because it's not sloppy. It's just he's been so consumed by everything else that's going on right now to him that he hasn't really thought about, hey, doing the very very meticulous things like, okay, pro production check, blah blah. He's prioritized different things, but right now he's gonna have to he's gonna have to deal with this Liberator to the best of his ability, but with just Stalkers and there's no pylon place. So if he gets this Liberator at the south part of the map and just kind of sections off that natural, that's a natural that isn't going to be mining. But we look behind both mineral lines, there's no pylon at either one, so he can go straight into the main. Stalker's out of position. Russia's out a pylon now.
Indeed. What do you reckon to the decision to keep the Cyclone at home here?
With everything being proxied, you have to kind of worry about the potential for Stargate. And ultimately, if you're against one Stalker, like let's say one Stalker and one Zealot, your Cyclone can dance all day against that. But against 3 Stalkers, you just pull the one that's getting locked on back, and then the Cyclone's kind of rendered inefficient because it takes 4 seconds to get your Cyclone lock-on upgrade or the cooldown come up again. So there's no point really going for that.
Thermal uncharacteristic mistake. Takes quite a lot of damage as it goes in there. Now he's positioning both Liberators, but Mana seems relatively well prepared. I mean, this Liberator is actually going to get shut down by the looks of it. It's going to die. That got nothing done.
Despite Mana having his production kind of stunted, he's done a really good job of like kind of recouping himself and dealing with these Liberators. These Liberators have done nothing.
No.
One's down to like 30% health. This is bad.
I guess we shouldn't have mentioned lag. Unfortunately, we're losing our French partner here. In the meantime, as we're talking about that, do you really think
is he actually French, or are you saying that because he's called Baguette?
No, it literally is the O Gaming casting team. they like to make it obvious where they're from. But the interesting thing about this is that I don't think it had nothing to do with Mana. It was mostly down to Euthermal botching the attack, from what I could tell.
Yeah, definitely. Euthermal's been having, as I said, trouble in this matchup. It sucks that this lag's happening, so Baguette should leave, I guess. But yeah, Euthermal's been having trouble in this matchup, and you know those national kind of qualifiers that you have, where it's like one player from certain countries?
Mm-hmm.
Like, unfortunately for Euthermal, he's in a country with a very good Protoss, which is Hearthstone, and Hearthstone has knocked Euthermal out of everything, like the last 4 or 5 series that they've played in. So, you know, it's a matchup that he obviously needs to get better at, not only just because of tournaments and such, but just for qualifying for tournaments, because Hearthstone, yeah, he's definitely had his number for a little while now.
Yeah, it seems like that may have shaken him psychologically. But, I mean, again, it was just a poorly executed Liberator attack. We're seeing a reactor being added on here after moving the starport to a different position, which is a very interesting way of looking at it. But so far, you know, the Reapers were pretty cool, but then he lost them, and now this has done nothing. And you pointed out that the pro production's been great, even catching up, but you also got to bear in mind the natural was so late for Euthermal. He committed so much to early attacks that didn't really get a lot done.
There's a few things that I'm going to talk about here. So, Mana's going for a really early third, or when I say really early, he's going for a pretty safe third, actually. Like, it could have been earlier, but given that he was against all this pressure from Liberators and Reapers and Proxies, this is a normal third. And he's gone for it on the gold. Now, Euthermal, rather than playing kind of like a normal game on a macro map like this, where it is extremely long, he's going to try and take advantage of a timing to try and kill this third, or at least win the game. Because if a Protoss, and Protoss in this matchup, they do get their thirds much earlier than Terrans. It's completely different to how Heart of the Swarm was. But yeah, if this third is mined from for too long, Mana's just going to have way, way, way better numbers than Euthermal, and Euthermal's not going to stand a chance. So what Mana needs to do right now is just get out units, a lot of units, and one of the best units he can get out is an Adept, honestly. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just see full-on Immortal Adept production from this point on.
Makes sense. Another Liberator was picked off there. You know, not a lot's really got... Oh! He's going for it, and there's the Cyclone lock, and he gets out of there with a boost. The Warp Prism just loaded up, and is going for 4 Adept pressure into the main. That main is empty right now. That is going to be tricky to defend, especially with Euthermal's army across the map.
One thing that scares me a little bit for Mana is there's no pylons at this third, or there's one, but the...
That blink was interesting. Those medevacs are all over the place. I'm not sure what's going on there with Euthermal, but the force fields are down. The Cyclone gets focused down the front here as well. Mana just crushes that. Blinks aggressively on top of the Terran, thinking he has enough to do it, but unfortunately eats Widow Mines for his trouble. Is driven back with damage, but here is that Adept harassment. Massive warp in into the main, knowing, oh wait, this is empty. Let's just go. We've got the units for that. You said, hey, put on a bunch of Adept pressure. He evidently listened to you. Off go the Widow Mines. A couple of Adepts going down here as well. Reinforcements being pulled in to try and deal with it. Adepts trying to overrun the base. So far, not too much economic damage being done, but they're now going to teleport into the natural mineral line. Euthermal has dealt with this surprisingly well, considering.
He has, but time is not on his side. Like,
No, it's not.
If he had a third base mining and it was a gold base, then cool. But no, unfortunately for him, that's mana. And look what the upgrades are getting. He's getting further and further ahead in upgrades. All right, when I say further, he's going to equal him on upgrades. He's already got +1 weapons, which his opponent does have. But he's getting resonating glaives. That means that Adepts turn into superhumans. This Warp Prism, as far as I know, is still alive. Yes, it's going around the right side of the map. I feel that just keeping it on the cusp of the main base would be better, given that getting on top of production, that's when you can really win against your opponent. But Euthermal, these Liberators, these are going to be the key to trying to take a victory in the next fight. And again, there's no pylons kind of aggressively placed. So I'm kind of surprised by that. Ooh.
Oh, there's the blink. He goes right underneath it and takes it out. Although, unfortunately, a few of the Stalkers get stuck on the way out. So, not as great a trade as he was hoping for there. The gas being threatened here. And looking to try and find a way around those Liberators. He's going to just put the Adepts right in the middle of them. Those Widow Mines! Oh, that was a massive shot. We lost a bunch of sentries there. A lot of damage to the Adepts there as well. The Immortals now in the fray. That should still be enough to pull it back. A costly counter-attack here by Mana. And unfortunately, no way to shoot up. So he's got to get out of that. There we go. There's your Blink Stalkers.
So yeah, the Stalkers joined the fray. He thwarted that attack pretty well, and he took out multiple Liberators, which ultimately is the biggest and scariest unit that he can go up against. Upgrade-wise, he's going to be ahead next fight, which is, or when I say ahead, he's going to be up to date next fight, but he also has the Resonating Glaives. One thing that I'd like to add to his army is maybe just one sentry, just for Guardian Shield. That would help out a little bit. He also has to be constantly careful of these Widow Mines, because these will take out Adepts like 1-0. But yeah, again, this Warp Prism, getting Adepts in on the other side of the map.
Good solid damage done here on the natural, and bear in mind, there's still only 2 bases for Euthermal, and he's got half the economy of his opponent. This is looking pretty damn grim for our Liquid Terran, who doesn't even have an army supply advantage either at this point. Euthermal is bleeding on all sides.
If there was one thing that could have been, that I would have added for mana here, is maybe a Dark Shrine a little bit earlier. He has a lot of gas which he can utilize, and it's only 150. And when you're already making your opponent bleed out units at home and forcing him to make mules because you know he's on less bases than you, the last thing he wants to be doing is using scans for DTs.
Oh, here we go. More Liberation Zones placed down. Blinks out of the way. Doesn't want to take any unnecessary damage, and there is that Adept attack. He's going to try and warp in there. And decides, actually, no. It's a good job he didn't, because there's a lot of Widow Mines back there. And Mana actually doesn't know about them either. So that is maybe a suicidal thing to phase into. As it stands, Euthermal's Liberators are proving problematic here for Mana, who's had to evacuate the third base. Oh, God! Oh, that could have been way worse. But there's still more.
This is actually the best position that Euthermal's been in this game.
Indeed.
Oh, the Observer does die.
That's good news for Euthermal, and the blink comes in, but those Widow Mines could be a problem. Actually, they're not charged.
By mana.
Oh, that was rough. The Liberators blasting away Stalkers here, and is Mana starting to fall apart here? Euthermal has equaled him in army supplies. Economy's not in a great state, but man, if he gets another good set of Widow Mine detonations, suddenly this third could be done for.
This Widow Mine count is slowly growing, and it's not going down anytime soon. And he keeps making bad
Not a
blinks.
good idea. It's a very bad place to go, especially against Concussive Shell. And down goes the Mothership Core as well. Time Warp put into place. Not really all that effective. This third base still isn't mining, bear that in mind. It's doing nothing at the moment.
Euthermal's definitely been microing well. Like, he's been baiting mana into bad blinks, into bad shades. There's this Warp Prism on the other side of the map too. Hasn't been doing anything.
Oh! Massive detonation. All the apps just got wiped out. That's a disaster! Disaster for Mana.
Oh my god.
That was the exact wrong thing to do in that situation. Euthermal was looking for that. It was trying to bait that huge adept clump into a minefield. The adepts got wiped out in an instant. Euthermal now has a 20 army supply lead. The Liberators stop. There's 5 Liberators and very little to shoot up. Mana has taken... Well, Euthermal has taken a losing game. Weirdly enough, Euthermal's just lost his natural in the process after an adept run by. But the army from Euthermal looks like a game-winning army here. If only he can close it out.
He needs to just be patient with how he moves his Liberators. There's no point taking bad trades at this point in time. The only thing that really deals with Liberators
Euthermal has no
SCVs.
SCVs. They're all dead. They just all ran past adepts. Like, Euthermal basically has no economy now. He has to win with this army.
Oh, God.
This
One
is
smart move would
silly.
be maybe for Mana to kill these rocks. Oh, Euthermal's killing the rocks. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
I guess he could lift up and drop into the main here, which is something that... Oh, so he's going to kill the rocks to kill the rocks? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Unfortunately, he sets his Widow Mines in a vulnerable position, doesn't bury them quite fast enough. He maybe would have got a couple of nice shots over there. But yeah, basically, all of his economy is gone. These 3 adepts devastate all of it. This is all or nothing now for Euthermal.
Oh, God. This is really tight. I think Mana's still... Oh,
he might
man.
pull this out. He may very well pull this out. Euthermal losing his entire economy behind that to 3 adepts may very well have done the trick.
Mana made this a lot closer than he should.
Oh, he's blinking underneath it. He wants to take out the Liberators. He desperately needs to take out the Liberators. He must take out the Liberators. He doesn't take out the Liberators.
Oh my God.
It's too close. It's way closer than it should be. Jumps on top of the Immortal. 1 down. 2nd down. Barrier falls as well. The Liberators are not really contributing right here, but there should be just enough Terran to break through what's left of Mana, surely, unless the Terran blows itself up with its own Widow Mines, which is entirely possible. The Liberators are in play. What's left of the bio is rapidly backing away. The Liberators are falling down now, though. Equal on the army supply. The probes are the heroes. Bear in mind, he had like 50 probes versus no workers. He could use those as his army right now.
They both have no income, barely. I mean,
Mules on the go.
Trying to clean up these adepts back at home.
He gets one. There's one left, but that's enough. That's enough to kill the whole economy again.
He just lost his medevac with his units in.
Oh God, really? Good Lord.
Yeah.
Euthermal, what the hell are you doing? Right, okay, so Euthermal has mules on his gold. Warp Prism coming in, though. Is there money? There's, like, money for, like, 2 or 3 warp pins. He's got adepts on the way. The gold base is now under threat. There are 3 Marauders and 3 Marines, and he just lost the medevac. I think Mana just pulled it out. Yeah, I think he pretty much did. Actually, he just blinked right into a Marauder. Maybe not. No, he's got the numbers. He's got the numbers to make this happen. Euthermal, what did you do? GG!
Wow.
What the f was that?
That was a really, really damn close game, and I can't believe that Mana managed to, A, make it so close, but B, kind of come back after he blinked into all of those Widow Mines.
Oh God, yeah. You know what's weird? Did Euthermal cost himself the game by knocking those rocks down? That delayed his attack by a good 20-25 seconds. If he'd actually gone in right then, not knocked down the rocks, would he have just won?
It's a really tough decision, because it would have been a smart move for Mana to kill those rocks to buy himself time. But the fact that Euthermal did it, maybe he was thinking, okay, my opponent has 4 Immortals. If I move through here, and he potentially cuts off my army in half with those 4 Immortals, because it takes a little, like slightly over 2 volleys to do that, then I could be in real trouble if my army gets sectioned off. That being said, I think Euthermal's style in TVP, it's a weird style, obviously, with proxying absolutely everything that you have into trying to play a macro game. Yeah, it's just a weird style, honestly. Maybe he got a little bit too overzealous there at the end, because like his Liberators weren't really doing much when he was picking off all those Immortals.
Yeah, they were slightly out of range. I'm just looking at that final fight now. They were literally slightly out of range. If they were actually in range, that would have been a devastating win for the Terran. Just one square forward, that would have done it.
And also, the like 3 medevacs they had with the units inside, they
Losing
died.
That, yeah, that... I don't even know how that happened. I don't even know how there was enough shooting up to even have that happen.
He just ran on top of the he ran on top of the Stalkers somehow, and then just lost all his supply. And up until that point, it was kind of even army supply. Yeah, he had no income, but neither did his opponent, and he had mules to work with.
Yes.
Jeez.
Well, that was bizarre. We have one final map for you. One final match.
This is the final match?
We are at the final match. That is it.
Hell.
We are out of players. We've killed them all. It's been a good 6 hours of StarCraft. We have one final match for you. We actually haven't had a single one of these the entire tournament. We haven't had a PvP up until now.
I wanted to say thank God, but I mean, it's good to have one of each matchup in there, eh?
We've had some good PvPs in Kings. You know, it's not my favorite matchup. I'll happily admit that. But
you know, when you get
it's got
to
interesting
see
lately.
when you get to see two really good players go up against each other, though, especially two that, you know, these could potentially be anywhere in a tournament from like round of 32 to like round of 4. You know, especially these two guys. It's always nice to see.
Both players are ready. For the final time, let us unveil the challenger. Liquid Mana is your king with 3 games to his name. Will he continue on to October? That would be a surprise, I think, for a lot of people. He has one final challenge in his way. A fellow Protoss and one of the strongest Europeans right now, without a doubt. It's showtime.
Showtime is one of the most solid Protossers we've ever had in the foreign scene, honestly. And he's such a nice guy. Like, this is one of the guys that never steps out and does anything BM or whatever you. He's just an all-round nice guy and also an absolute monster. When I talk about players, I like to talk about like how they hold their mouse and keyboard.
Okay.
And Showtime, he doesn't rest his wrists on the desk like with his keyboard hand. You'll often see his arm just floating, which I find so unusual when I see it happening, because when you're playing for like hours and hours a day and you're literally lifting up your arm to float it above the keyboard and not resting on the wrist, that just seems ridiculous to me. But he's one of the best Protossers.
You can't argue with the method. You can maybe argue with the madness. But you certainly lately cannot argue with his results. First place, WCS Circuit Spring Circuit Championship, 4-3 against Nurcio. Third place, World Cyber Arena, 3-0 against Swordov. Second place, Cobra Intercontinental, losing only to Snoot in the final. Like, this is a guy with the results, the recent results. Maybe he hasn't had enough history for some people to respect him, although anyone that's in Germany knows he doesn't mess around. I mean, he was king of the ESL Pro Series for just years and years and years. I mean, he still is. He still is. He came in 3rd and 4th place this year. He won 3 of them, I believe, over the course of 3 years. He's not to mess around with.
Certainly not. And so far in this PvP, they're both opting for very similar build orders, which is like double gate, double gas. And you often find that Protossers above all others are so meticulous with their gases. So as you can see here, like as they rally up, it's 2 on each gas geyser. Now, you may always be kind of like surprised about why it's 2 on each, why not 3 on one and then 1 on the other. Well, like if you kind of section it off like a pie, each probe will be like 35, 35, and then the last one to like complete it as in 100%. So it's 35% efficient, 35% efficient, then 30% efficient. So that's the reason why you see 2 on each, rather than 3 on one and 1 on the other. It's a matter of like very little minuscule things, but makes all the difference if you're at this top level.
Like a pie. Very
yeah,
important.
like a pie. Oh, and we already see deviations in their play too. So
yeah, interesting.
Double Adept against Double Stalker. Now, the Double Stalker guy, he's going to be playing defensive, whereas the Adept guy, well, Adepts are so good at attacking, man, you might as well do it with them.
That is true, no doubt about that. I'm interested to see where this goes. We've had some phenomenal PvPs in Kings over the last couple of months. I'd highly recommend watching all of them, because they've all been micro battles. Insane Disruptor versus Disruptor, Patience versus Neeb, probably the highlight of that. I won't spoil the result of it, but it was ridiculous. Strongly recommend that you watch that one, even if you're not a fan of this matchup. Robo coming down slightly early here for Mana, but regardless, showing up for Showtime.
And I'm always curious how people play PvP. Like, you see this Mothership Core from Showtime, like, he's moving out. They've both seen the exact same stuff from one another, but he's the one that chooses to move out, whereas it's Mana playing very, very defensive. And where is his Stalkers, actually? So they're kind of getting ready to intercept the Adepts if they do come.
Indeed.
But I just wonder what inspires these movements. Now, oh, did he actually get to see that Nexus going down? No, he moved away. That's a big deal.
Stalkers moving up. The Adepts are getting pinged. They're not going to get killed, but now the Adepts are going to scout that base. Will he decide to warp? He actually does, which warps him into a corner. Oh, Mana actually missing a key opportunity to kill those off there. That's because, of course, he's being harassed over here, but that's being cleaned up. These Adepts are trapped. Or are they?
Okay.
Now they're
thought he was
phasing.
going to keep the Adepts out of vision, you know, just so, like, when a probe transferred by or later on, he could get damage done, but another photon overcharge deals with that pretty sufficiently, actually. Whoa. Double robotics bay from both our players here.
But there's a Stargate coming down for Showtime as well.
Oh, okay, so this is good for Showtime, mainly because even though his, like, buildings are later, he got to scout his opponent, and did he actually see that okay, so he saw the Robo Bay. So because he's seen that, he's going to get a Phoenix to counter his opponent's
Disruptors. Yeah, because if I recall correctly, if you lift up a Disruptor while the shot's going off, does that cancel the shot? I believe it does, yeah.
Cancels the shot, so that happens, but also, TV, it also can chase down the Warp Prism itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this Phoenix serves multiple options, so they're both going to go for the Disruptor drop, but Showtime's going to be able to counter Mana's, whereas Mana, he's opting for a Twilight Council here.
That is interesting.
This is already strange. It's... Oh, wait, okay. You know how I talked about Mana's probe production not being on point against Thermal? Look at the probe count in this game.
Same deal, right? Yeah, Showtime's been on top of it the entire time, whereas Mana's probe count is, I mean, kind of minimal for two bases, really.
That being said, Mana does have a superior Stalker count, and he is going to be going to the front here. And Showtime's actually opted for an Immortal first.
Oh, hello. Here's the Disruptor right in, and it gets a double Stalker pickoff. Now, I want to point out, by the way, this exact map is where Patience versus Neeb happened in this exact same situation. So this is going to get a little bit wild one way or the other. But Showtime actually has no counter Disruptor.
No counter Disruptor. He's getting his own Immortal, but he almost didn't anticipate the Stalker follow-up. He just anticipated the Disruptor harass.
Boom! 5 workers killed. That equals it up.
Wait, what?
Where's the Stalkers? Get over there! Get over there! Go deal with it! There we go. Thankfully, Phoenixes don't hit too hard, but yeah. That was a interesting little misstep there by Mana, just backing off for kind of no reason. So far, so good with the pressure.
Yeah, so what's Showtime doing on the other side of the map? He's got a Warp Prism, warped in Adepts, that's cool.
2 Adepts. There's no pylon there either for the Mothership Core, so that's going to do some damage.
Oh, yeah, you're right, and that's just delayed mining. 3 probes down against this Disruptor, but honestly, you kind of want more per shot, but any shot's a good shot, right?
Yeah, if you get something with it, and you need to get the value. You know, it's such a big investment, you've got to take a couple of shots to really pay for it. And of course, it's on borrowed time, because there's no way Showtime's going to continue to allow that to happen.
Honestly, I'm really liking Mana's situation here. He's done a lot of damage so far. Like, the Resources Lost tab, despite being very, very similar in supply and in worker count, the Resources Lost tab is so good for Mana. And
absolutely.
He just didn't expect this Stalker attack, honestly, with this Disruptor, and Showtime's been totally thrown off because of that.
Oh, Prism in the base, gets out, a couple of Adepts. There should be a Mothership Core around here somewhere, but it's not in the natural.
That was cute, okay? So he tried to drop the Disruptor, but he fired his own Disruptor shot to cancel Mana's Disruptor shot.
Yeah. So he had to pick up.
Which was key.
Alright, will Mana be able to get another good shot off? The Phoenix obviously is in play. Disruptor's not ready yet, but a blink right on top of the Disruptor before it gets to shoot. Big move here by Mana. Disruptor in the center! Massive crushing attack here by Mana. He's right on top of it. Will he have enough to take the Immortals out? One is about to fall. A second knock. Just so close to the focus fire. The probe's now off the line. Does Mana have enough to make this work? He's charging another Disruptor shot, but it's lifted. It's in the air. It's not ready to go yet. There's another Immortal now in the mix. The probe's now off the line. Big warp in behind that. Mana's Warp Prism is not quite dead. Where is the Disruptor? It died, but there should be enough Blink Stalkers to make this work here for Mana.
Wow, Mana's making it work, man. He really is, and here he's got Blink Stalkers against non-Blink Stalkers. Also, the Warp Prism's a second blink, and GG.
What a hell of a boot camp for Mana, I've got to say. Like, he is looking way better than most people expected based on his late form. He is looking awesome. And he is our reigning king. I don't know if anyone would have expected that, honestly. Not with the lineup of players we've had today. What a stellar performance from Mana.
Really good performance. I mean, so he was against Nurture first, then
Nurture,
Elazer,
Uthermal, and Showtime. Basically, a who's who of top foreigners right now.
I'd have actually put Mana as not the favorite in any one of those matchups.
No,
so
actually wouldn't have either.
The fact that he stepped up and delivered, and he really did deliver. Like, this game, Showtime got caught with his pants down, man. Like, that was quite a blasting, and with kind of an unusual build too. And Showtime got to scout everything that was going on. Like, Mana's pro production was actually kind of bad, but where he sacrificed pro production, he made up for it in Stalker production, which Showtime just didn't expect at all. And then he busted him through the door. And yeah, well played by Mana, honestly.
Excellent. Well done by him. An unexpected set of victories here for a player, of course, who has a veteran reputation. Absolutely phenomenal player, but who hasn't really been showing us the strongest of games as of late. Perhaps this is Mana's revival, and it's been great to watch that. What a crazy tournament. We had 2 incredible streaks. Not only has Beyond proven that he earned the title of GSL champion, and it was certainly no fluke, but Nurture crushing everything South Korea had to offer. I'm certainly hoping that puts a fire under the South Koreans next month, because they did, outside of Beyond, they did not have a good showing today.
No, I mean, besides Beyond, there wasn't another Korean that won. And I mean, there was only 2 foreigners that won, sure, but like, in terms of maps and stuff, like, that's pretty good. That's how I like to see it. You know, like, there's obviously really good foreigners, and there's obviously really good Koreans, and that's how it should be.
And frankly, it sets up a very intriguing storyline for the upcoming Kesper Cup. Nurture qualifies. South Korea maybe didn't pay too much attention to that. They bloody well will now, after seeing what he just did.
Definitely.
It's going to be a matter of prep. I don't think that was probably on the agenda of most coaches going into the Kesper Cup, but having seen his performance here, especially against the Korean Terrans, I would strongly recommend that you do a little bit of research on the Polish powerhouse that is Nurture.
And also the other player that's going is Marine Lord, which...
Indeed. Oh yeah, he's no slouch either. You don't want to mess with him.
He actually beat Nurture in the Kesper Cup qualifier in the final, so...
Indeed.
You know, it's not only Nurture that's a scary foreigner. There are a few of them. There are a few.
An intriguing spin on things, indeed. Nurture proving his point. Koreans aren't the only ones who know how to play StarCraft 2. And Mana proving that the long rivalry between those two, and of course the pride of Poland, very much on the line and forefront in his mind. Taking out the number 1 and number 2 players, re-establishing himself at the top of the pile here for Poland, which I'm sure he's very happy about, as well as teaching an upstart teammate a lesson in how not to mess around in a crazy game between Uthermal and Mana. What a series. Some amazing games here today. Thank you very much to everyone for tuning in. And of course, big thanks to our sponsors, Blizzard Entertainment. Ben, thank you very much for co-casting and bringing the knowledge here today. We certainly needed it. There's some crazy stuff going on.
Cheers, and thank you for giving me primarily Terran matchups so I didn't seem like a donkey.
Of course, yeah. Don't worry, no one else knows the other matches either, so it's fine. You can get away with it.
It's been a pleasure.
Hey, it's been absolutely excellent. Big thanks to our Korean casting team, Alicia and Crank, and our administration team, one-woman army, Olivia. To all the players for putting on some great games, and to those that slacked, maybe get ready next time. Kings is not a casual tournament, and Koreans don't automatically win it, not by any means. Hopefully we'll see a stronger showing from South Korea next month. Otherwise, they've got a lot of explaining to do. They certainly have nothing else to work on right now. But big thanks to everybody for playing. It's been an awesome event. Thank you for watching. If you missed any of the matches today, they'll be available immediately for subscribers. Twitch.tv/TotalBiscuit. Subscription, of course, supports the channel. $5 a month gets you ad-free viewing, access to 37 different emotes, I believe, access to the chat, as well as, of course, all of the raw VODs. And cut spoiler-free VODs will be available over the next few days on youtube.com/TotalBiscuit. We'll be back next month with yet more ShoutCraft Kings action. And if you want more StarCraft today, EU Ladder Heroes Monthly Finals is kicking off right now over on Fear Dragon's channel. We're going to be hosting that after this if you want to watch yet more of the Europeans playing. It's twitch.tv/FearDragon64. That is twitch.tv/FearDragon64 on the agenda. Strange versus TLO, Sorta versus Cass, Cyril versus Namshar, Showdown, whoever that is. Nurture will be playing, as well as Elazer and Wellmu, so that should be a lot of fun. Thanks a lot for watching, folks. We are done for the day. We'll see you next time.